Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to be going over the math lesson from this week, okay? So this is from Monday, so your assignment, you were to do pages 600 or 261 through 262, so that is where we are at in our book right now. And this lesson, it's asking us to multiply across zeros. So we know that we can use the distributive property or partial products to multiply across zeros, okay? This should be a good little review for us because we've done this before. So if we look at the first example, it says, Ivan's braces cost $108 each month. How much will Ivan's parents pay in 6 months? Now, if we look, the first thing our book is asking us to do is estimate. All right, so we know that we always need to estimate the bigger number, and our bigger number here is going to be 108. So if we remember how to estimate, we want to estimate our biggest number to the greatest value place. So in this case, it's going to be 100 for us. So we look at that 1, we underline our 1, then we draw our arrow towards the second number. Now, if this number is 5 or greater, this 1 is going to turn into a 2. If this number is, excuse me, 4 or less, this number is going to stay the same. So since we have 0, we know that that's less than 4. So this 1 is going to stay the same, and then the rest of these two numbers, okay, are going to turn to zeros. So we are in reality just doing 6 times 100. Now, we know that when we're doing 6 times 100, it's really just asking us, what is 6 times 1? With 2 zeros added on to the end. So we know 6 times 1 is going to give us 6, and then we just bring down our 2 zeros. Okay, so that's the first way we can do it. So we know that our estimate is going to be about, all right, $600, but we don't know that exactly. Now, another way that we could set this up, we break up our bigger number. Remember, we've done these models, okay, in our simple solution, so this should be another good review. You put your 100 on top because you're breaking up 108 into 108. And then on your side here is going to be the 6. So the first box should be 6 times 100, which we know is going to be 600. And then in our second box is going to be 6 times 8, which is going to give us 48. So at the end, we know we add these two together, so 600 plus 48 is going to give us 648. Another way to do it is using our distributive property method that we've gone over. So if you look here, it says 6 times 108. We know we're distributing that 6 to the 100 and then to the 8, and then when we add it together, okay, it'll give us our exact answer. So again, doing 6 times 100, which is 600, plus 6 times 8, which is going to give us 48. Okay, see how you do that? You solve both parentheses, and at the end, you add them together. Now, if we look over here, another way that we do this is first you do 6 times 8, okay? That's going to give us 48. So you do 6 times 8 first. Now, before you move on and start multiplying the next, you need to make sure you're distributing now. So we just distributed the 6 times the 8. Then we distribute to the 6 to the 0, which gives us 0. Now, lastly, we need to distribute this 6 to the 1, okay? And that is going to give us 600, okay? See, because the 1's in the 100 spot, okay? So you need to make sure that it's not just 6 times 1 is 6, it's the 1's in that 100 spot. So you need to make sure it says 600. And then at the end, you add these all together, which is 48. So altogether, we know that Ivan's parents are going to be paying $648 in 6 months, all right? And we said that our answer, which is 648, is going to be a really close estimate, okay? Remember what our estimate was? Our estimate was 600. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about example 2. Okay, just give me 1 second. Got to cover up the teacher manual. Okay. Remember, if you're watching this video and I'm going a little too fast for you, remember, you can always go ahead and you can pause the video and go back. All right, that's the good thing about these videos. We can always go back and look. All right, so let me just readjust our camera here. All right. So let's look at example 2. Example 2 says, if 3 trees are each 2,025 years old, what is the total age of the trees? All right. So our estimate, we need to estimate first. So remember, we're estimating our biggest number by the biggest place value. And in this case, it's going to be 2025. All right. So we round this. 2025. We underline our 2. Then we look over at our 0. Remember, with estimating, if it's 5 or greater, this number goes up by 1. If it's 4 or less, this number will stay the same. So we see 0, because that is a 0, is less than 4. We're going to leave the 2 the same and add these, all these numbers turn into 0. So 2025 gets estimated, okay, to 2,000. And now we know we're just solving 3 times 2,000. But never fear, right? Because this is really just saying what is 3 times 2 with 3 zeros at the end. And we know 3 times 2 is going to give us 6. And we add our 3 zeros. Our estimate is then going to become 6,000. So let's look. If we were to do this the exact way, we've done this before, right? The first thing we need to do is we need to distribute the 3 to the 5, which gives us 15. So our 5 is going to go down here, and then we distribute our 1. All right, so then let's look. Now we have 3 times 2, okay, which we know is 6. But we don't stop there, right? Because we have a 1 on top. So we just take the 6 and we add that 1, which then gives us 7. Then we distribute our 3 to the 0, all right, which is going to give us 0. And then we need to distribute that 3 over to the 2, which is going to give us 6. So if you look, our exact answer is going to be 6,075. All right, so if we look at our directions on the side here, we did the ones, which are 3 times 5, and we got 15. Then we multiplied our tens group, which is 3 times 2. We multiplied our hundreds group, which is 3 times 0. And then lastly, we did our thousands, which were 3 times 2. So we remember our total age of the trees is going to be 6,075. Now, we need to check for reasonableness here. And if you guys look, I think it's pretty reasonable to say that 6,075 is pretty close to our estimate, which we decided, or which we figured out was 6,000. So if we look over here at our guided practice, we're going to solve it the same way, okay? We're going to regroup. So first we're going to multiply our ones together. So if you look, we have 3 times 3. That's going to give us 9. Then we do 3 times 0, okay? That is going to give us 0. All right? And then we do our 3 times 3. That is going to give us 9 again. So our answer there, okay, is going to be 909. So then if we look over here, we have 507 times 70, or I'm sorry, 507 times 6. So we do 7 times 6, which is going to be 42. So we have our 2. We carry our 4 up here. Then we do 6 times 0. But we know from looking up here, all right, we do 6 times 0, and then we add the number that's on top, just like how we added the 1 up here. Now we're going to add the 4 down here. So 6 times 0 is going to be 0 plus 4, which is 4. And then lastly, we do 6 times 5, which is going to give us 30. So our answer here is going to be 3,042. Now, if we estimated here, all right, so if we estimated 303, we round that, that goes to 300. So we do 3 times 300, which again, we know is just 3 times 3 with 2 zeros at the end. That's going to give us 900. All right, and 909, very close to our estimate here of 900. Then if we were to round 6 times 500, all right, that is going to give us, all right, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just lost my train of thought. 6 times 500, we know it's just asking 6 times 5, add 2 zeros at the end. So we do that. Our answer is going to be 3,000. All right, now, here's what I'm going to do for the independent practice part, you guys. I went over these 2 pages. I want you to look over at your independent practice. And if you had any questions on any of the questions, I want you to comment what question you had a question on, and then I'll make a follow-up video, and I will answer all of the questions that you guys had in that video, okay? So remember, make sure you are checking in Modo, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.